Dagda. Already that Lee Sin just being passed over by the likes of LGD and RNG who picked it so many times before.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see high priority on that Lee Sin anymore. It is more of a jungle pick. Now, Viego's still incredibly high. Varus still insanely high as well. So we're still going to see these picks start to come through. Although, as I say it, Shadow considering taking the Lee Sin for himself.
Yeah.
But I like what RNG are going for here, right? Get that Viego. Make sure you've got that strong lane. Does go up towards Xiaohu, who's still been traditionally playing a lot of these carry-orientated champions. So it does fit into that wheelhouse of, hey, look, RNG's best side of the map is still that top lane.
Yeah, it is. But I want to point out that a champion that can impact the top side of the map has been banned away by LGD so smartly when, you know, we talk about junglers going downhill like the Rumble, even the Lee Sin being a potential jungler as we see on LGD. Xin Zhao still up there as a top tier pick alongside the Diana, so I do like the bans to start us off. That means RNG aren't even going to look at jungle. Dagda, strong 2v2 for Gala and Ming. We know that Gala and Ming have had some pretty decent laning phases, so not a bad start.
Yeah, Gala and Ming have had good ones, but we've also seen them kind of mispositioned sometimes and start to throw some of these, so some of these summoner spells. If we actually look at that replay that we had, the reason part of that fight went so poorly for them against LNG, or against Sunny, was they'd actually burnt both summoner spells because Gala had mispositioned and went against one Fung and on. And it was actually against this Leona pick as well. So we'll have to see how that bot lane matchup does go. In theory, it should be relatively okay for RNG to get towards that first item and look towards team fights, but it feels like in a straight up 2v2, I actually give that towards Kramer and Mark.
Yeah, it can create a lot of space with the Leona as well. And your ability to poke out the Kalista. A lot of fun to watch this bottom side matchup, nevertheless, as we go into the next pick and ban. Dagda, I'm sorry, I'm still kind of reeling in from not having any breath for a while, so I'll get back to normal in this first game. I have to pause every 2 seconds to breathe. But Gwen already been banned away, another OP champion that hasn't been touched this patch. What else would you like to see, considering that we don't really have our solo lanes apart from the Viego that we're expecting to go to Xiaohu or Cryin?
I think the Renekton, right? The Renekton's still up and available, still an incredibly strong pick. Also, we've seen Cryin being taken out into the mid lane, and I think, especially for LGD, your best protocol here is to make Cryin uncomfortable. Because Cryin has been struggling very much so with trying to adapt towards this new meta. It's especially a lot of the assassins and these kind of things. So getting him off of picks that can kind of just hands off the lane phase, keep it nice and easy, and neutralize that matchup is going to favor RNG way more. You want Xiye to be able to bully that matchup, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and keep that counter pick for Xiye on this last rotation.
Okay, let's see, because that would be Xiye's biggest strength coming through. He's been one of the strongest players alongside Shadow. I do like that RNG have double mid ban though, especially the Silas after the games we've seen from this man. So I feel like you got to pay the respect here for LGD's mid laner, while you want to see the other side lane picked up then. Again, still assuming that the Lee Sin's going to be in the jungle, which we know 40 damage off maxing the E is too much to deal with. So maybe not. They say, hey, put Xiye on the Twist of Fate. Something we remember from the 2020 Worlds roster, which Xiye was always faded on.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring up was how good Fearness has been doing. If you look at like gold difference at 15 and CSD at 15 for top laners, he's first. He's ahead of Nuggery. He's ahead of everyone. And now this composition feels like you slam in a Camille and you play around topside and just like, Fearness, here you go, buddy. You're all in on the carry performance, and there we go. Like, this is it. Like, I love this from LGD. The fact that we're seeing Fearness really come into his own is so cool to see, when he's been like previously cult, but never really got to show what he's worth, right? He was stuck on tank duty. Now we're seeing Fearness come into his own, and LGD are willing to build around him.
So not only do we get the Shadow Lee Sin, which LEC fans would be so excited in, and yeah, we have a lot of good Lee Sins in the LPL. I wouldn't say that Shadow hits the top of that list, but he's still pretty damn good on the champion. On top of that, Dagda, we get a 2020 style draft where Xiye's looking towards that top side, and you're so right with how Fearness has been playing. This Camille is the perfect pick to go up against RNG, who are faltering quite a lot. And let's go to the other side, because we haven't talked about the Orianna, the Viego coming through in side lanes. There is good scaling potential with Olaf to mitigate and control a bit of the early phase and add some of that perspective heading towards mid-game with his damage as well.
Yeah, and Olaf even receiving like minor buffs as well in this patch, so certainly going to be a little bit stronger. The biggest issue that I see is that the mid jungle coming through for RNG just isn't as strong on the opposite side, right? You can get a heap of burst potential coming through from the likes of the Lee Sin and that Twisted Fate to provide the CC. So certainly I'm a bit worried that you just burst out one member and then Olaf ends up running into that as well. And when you look towards the Orianna Twisted Fate matchup, Orianna isn't really a champion that can control Twisted Fate particularly well. She has quite high mana costs, so trying to shove out that wave against TF can be hard. So I honestly think from LGD's point of view, they have a good amount of room here to enact their composition, and it'll be on Xiaohu on this Viego to keep himself safe post level 6 and make sure he's not giving all that success over towards Fearness. And then RNG, when we get towards these team fights, will have greater success.
Just remember though, in that top side, you pull out Xiaohu here, Dagda, in game number 1. Viego, easy to punish now that his healing from minions has gone down to half. It was 100% before, which was outrageous. Now only that 50% bonus. So you can punish the lane more as well, which means that Xiaohu, the scrutiny will be on him. Opening up Summoner's Rift here for... Dagda, what day is it? Is it Wednesday?
It's Wednesday. Yeah.
Is it? Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize, but... Sydney's just gone inside lockdown again. I'm ready to spend another 7 days indoors. I forgot what year it is at one point as well, so that's what happens. Anyone else going through lockdown anywhere around the world, heart goes to you, but don't worry. We're here for you with some good League of Legends here in the LPL. Let's set things up again, Dagda. Bottom side for RNG, you talked about the volatility of the 2v2 with the Varus, who we know is going to be going poke here, with the Halo Blazers expected, and the Leona. Gala and Ming also have kill pressure, so I'm curious as to how this starting lane kicks the game off.
It's really awkward, because it's like, the AD carries are like, Kalista wants to fight, she wants to get in on top of the Varus, right? But when you look at the supports, that's the opposite. It's this real push-pull story, because when you look at the Nautilus-Leona matchup, Nautilus counters Leona by, when Leona goes in with the Zenith Blade, getting that hook, then being able to kite back. But when you're in a matchup with a Kalista, you want to go aggressive and...
Dagda,
oh no!
How many times are you going to be right tonight? Gala has to cleanse away. And Dredge Line was used first, so Mark's like, okay, I can Zenith Blade on the AD carry.
Yeah, and you get so much control there as Kramer Mark because of that. Now, level 2 will be hit first by RNG, but you still have to be so careful because now the poke from Kramer is going to be doing so much more work. The lucky story for Gala, though, longsword and pots means that he's got a couple more pots in the back pocket, so he's not going to be worrying too much about his health bar, but still, that's not the best of traits to start things off. Cleanse already gone.
Not the only lane that's building up momentum. Xiaohu in this top side, believe he hit 2 first as well, and he started punishing out Fearness, but HP gained back, so he's able to walk back in the wave, especially with level 2 himself. A Shadow top side and Way bottom side. Shadow's actually just crossed over into the bottom side jungle, as I said that as well. So Way with a bit of a clear lead. We know it's Olaf. He gets the low HP during his clear. He heals up. There's no problem whatsoever, but Undertow still just does so much damage in the early stages of the game. So Way is ahead, done with his jungle, and looking to set up for this bottom side scuttle, Dagda.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised to see the pathing coming through from Shadow. I assumed that he would try and path topside, look for some sort of play up towards Viego. I have a feeling that he thought Way was actually going to start on his bottom side and wanted to come bot to try and contest the scuttle, but it's already gone. And Ming just taking a little bit of a love tap on the way.
Xiye walking into river, and Shadow doesn't care that there is an Olaf who wants to duel him. Just pushes out Ming anyway, confident, walks back. Loses Scuttle though, but I love this pathing, Dagda. Way moving straight up to double Scuttle and then get an earlier recall than Shadow.
A lot of mind games going on with this jungle matchup because, as we were saying, like, Shadow wants to be topside to help Fearness, right? The composition is set up for that. But Way then was like, well, I know that you know that we know that you want to go topside. So he instead starts on that topside path spot and now is able to contest Shadow, who tried to rope-a-dope him. And now he gets the double scuttle off of that play.
I was wrong about an earlier recall, but I just love rope-a-dope either way. Back going to come through here from Way. Pickaxe on the side of the Lee Sin as well. And we're just going to keep watching some trading, and some really good trading from Xiaohu, who is the best performing member in RNG, without a doubt right now. A 10 CS lead here over the Camille, and still utilizing the range of the Q poke, still utilizing the fact that if you trade onto the champion, you still get the maximum amount of healing. It hasn't changed there, so sustain advantage, and that means topside is a good place for RNG for now.
Yeah, and the big one is that range advantage as well, right? Viego is one of the longest auto ranges of melee champions, so he's able to trade really, really effectively against Fearness. So it makes it pretty difficult for Fearness to just try and hang on in this lane. But we are getting to that crucial 6-minute mark. That's when we're going to see Xiye get access towards his ultimate. We can start to see Shadow play up towards that top side as well. And if that's the case, well, then Xiaohu has to be a hell of a lot careful. Now, still has his flash available, so not going to be in too much threat from the first play, but needs to stay careful for a good amount of time to make sure that he's not under threat.
I think we should exclaim that he has a flash, right? Xiye walking up over a ward for now as TP comes through. No Destiny available, guys, so Xiaohu just knows he can Spectral more out of there. But I think the biggest thing is when we see Gwen, when we see Viego top, we kind of get the Camille factor there. Like Fearness has done, Ignite, TP. So Flash is always something we have to keep track of, but we also have to remember that Fearness, when he hits 6, that Ignite will add so much factor itself. Shadow's moving down. Way started the Dragon, and he has a level lead. But he's pulled off pretty quickly after control warding down. Starts it up yet again. And Shadow's moved back to his jungle knowing that bot priority, mid missing as well. Everything works in favor for RNG to get this first objective.
Yeah, and this is definitely a favorable matchup for RNG when it comes towards getting these dragons, right? And this is exactly what RNG want to do. They want to stack dragons to force LGD into team fights, because LGD's composition is just not set up for that style of fight. They want to be able to get themselves ahead, play through side lanes, and use the pressure that they have in side lanes to then transition over towards these objectives. The big thing here, though, is that we're actually seeing... although Cryin was able to get the priority in mid to help out towards the dragon, he had to burn a hell of a lot of his mana to try and do so. So now Xiye, who's hit level 6, has that blue buff as well. He's going to be looking to see if he can try pushing in this lane and then look to move up to make these plays topside. You can already see Destiny hit. He just dips out of the lane straight off the bat and forces Xiaohu to play safe.
And there's no warding in the river from RNG towards that top side, the lane that we wanted to talk about. Fearness can dive because he can reset turret aggro with the Hextech ultimatums, so that's why the Twisted Fate Camille combo was seen in so many regions, but importantly here in this region, it was such a classic LGD draft. Back when it was Longxing, Xiye from 2020 Worlds as well, now back onto LGD, funnily enough, alongside Mark. It's crazy how things work out, but... trying to set up for that top side we talked about for LGD's condition. Dagda, I do like there's a control ward inside Brush, but again, he's doing it. Xiye just moves up. All he needs is enough mana for Destiny for the gold card. He's going to pick up some lettuce on the way to the supermarket and still threaten away that position of Xiaohu.
Yeah, and this is the thing for Xiye, right? When you go for this early ability haste, your mana's going to be a little bit lackluster. He's going to want to try and get this blue buff off the Shadow when it spawns, and then also making sure that he's got enough of those corrupting potion stacks to keep him nice and topped up. Now, Cryin going to get a blue buff of his own, so will help in trying to push out that lane alongside the tier a bit. But the big issue when you're looking towards both side lanes here for RNG is they know they want to play aggressive, right? Xiaohu has the advantage in this matchup. He wants to be trying to force himself on towards Fearness. Same you look at Gala, right? Gala is a Kalista. He wants to play aggressive in this lane. But when you've got something like a Twisted Fate, it makes it very hard for RNG to try and enact that game plan. So when you're looking towards the later stages of, hey, is Gala getting plates? Is he getting a lead in this matchup? Well, if the answer is no, that's a big win for LGD and something that Xiye has been a part of.
That's right, in halting the Kalista down. I like that point. We'll touch on it to see how Gala goes for the rest of the lane, because look, he's moving up. Kramer is as well. Classic roam here at the 8-minute mark from the LGD support. Ming's joined him, but Mark has a level advantage. Take note of that, considering that Gala has his, but Kramer also has Chains of Corruption. RNG with topside prio, they say, never mind. It's just going to be Wade getting the Herald away. Shadow was nowhere nearby at that point. He already filtered back. And RNG picked themselves up yet another objective.
And this is something that I've always noticed with LGD, and I'm not a big fan of, is their ability to set up for objectives. They kind of realized too late that they actually can't go for Rift Herald specifically. You can see there, they've already got Kramer bot side, right? They roam Mark up. They don't actually have priority mid. They don't have priority top. They can't really threaten that objective, but they started up anyway. RNG just move in, they sweep that up, but they've already moved Kramer top side as well. So you're not trading bot side for the Rift Herald. You've actually just leashed it for RNG. And this is something we get to see pretty consistently from LGD. And it's something that I want to see them change and start to pick up better, because it's just been something that's been lacking in their early game.
I feel like we'll be looking towards it around the next dragon as well, right? How that setup comes into fruition. Still need to see that first Destiny from Xiye. I mean, he's able to pick up the blue buff, so don't worry about the mana bar for now. But RNG are making a play on the top side of the map. Xiaohu and Wei are going to lock down Fearness, who's at half HP. Of course, he has no flash, but the hook shot, wall shot, back on in. Wei doesn't care, and Xiaohu can just burst him down. The Heartbreaker ulti from Fearness, good. He's bought time, but not enough. Destiny in the lack of time. I was going to say the Nick, but no way. It's first blood as 4 members of RNG show top.
And RNG played that so well, right? Move Ming up as well, ensure that you've got push in mid, so the 4 members go up top, so even if Shadow shows up, even if Xiye Destiny's in, you still have the numbers advantage to go for that dive. You're shutting down Fearness, who we've been talking about as this kind of big win condition for LGD, and you also get the Destiny from Xiye. That ultimate is so important to make work on these first few moves, so you can get that snowball rolling, but now you've got that long window where you've got no Destiny for Xiye and no teleport available either.
And you can do so much with that, right? You got 20 seconds until the dragon. Xiye has to be there manually instead of being able to threaten the ult, look for a position, lock down, and with his stopwatch almost available, maybe make a play. RNG, they have a Herald as well, Dagda. So this early game has been really tempered from them. It may not be a gold lead, but it's a 1-item Orianna after the first blood. It's a Viego who's built up a CS lead. It's an Olaf in the jungle for Wei, who has actually been farming better than like Shadow here. But Wei's running in.
Don't have their TP yet on Fearness. Here's the early TP from Xiaohu. They're going to try and make the play.
They're going to get Dragon, but yeah, RNG have themselves the numbers for now. It's 4 versus 4. I shouldn't even talk at this point. As Fate's Call used to flash away, Ming going to look for his lockdown, and it's onto Xiye. Dredge line at melee range was so damn easy. And Gala gets this one while LGD walked into it, and solo kill time in the top side. Dagda from bad to worse, quite literally.
It's an absolute mess from LGD. You saw the Fearness tried to stop the teleport coming through from Xiaohu, but he actually gave his life for it. Now Rift Herald mid.
All right, that's going to get a lot of plating down. Mark even steps forward. Ragnarok using the backline. Shadow jumps on him, but is it worth his life? Because that's what it's going to cost. Easy Ren City for Gala. While the flash forward from Mark. What? Kramer coming forward. It's out of the side that Xiye makes his entrance. Never mind. This mid-TF works it out perfectly as the snipe down from Kramer. Destiny as well. Look at Xiye, cameraman. He's actually going for Gala, the man. Gold card won't connect, but all he needs is an auto. And Xiye, he makes that play look beautiful somehow.
Somehow, LGD pull it out of the bag. That was a disastrous setup. Oh, the phone, Xiaohu. Sneaky.
He can clean this up. Does he have Heartbreaker? Yes, he does. On top of Xiye. Doesn't get the Spectral Maw. Unlucky there from the Viego and didn't want to burn the flash, so just has to let him go.
That was unfortunate for Xiaohu, but a big sigh of relief from LGD. So they got the dragon off that initial play. I don't even know what replay we're going to get here, so I'm just going to start discussing the whole view. We're actually going to get the pro view. So yeah, here's the kill in topside. We just had Fearness, look, tried to stop the TP from Xiaohu. It cost his life. And unfortunate for Fearness, but honestly, probably saved that play a hell of a lot more for LGD, because we really saw how poorly it was going with the TP already coming in from Cryin towards that bottom side, and you're just not really in a position to try and fight this. Kalista's stronger than Varus at the moment. You've got a hell of a lot of damage that's coming through from Olaf as well, because he's hit level 6, but we are... sorry, I got confused by the bottom left corner, but LGD, the fact they have to turn this around with Xiye is kind of nuts. The TP comes in, you've got super low health bars on both Cryin and Gala, and I thought Xiye had made a mistake there by not actually going on towards Gala, but there's just not enough damage, and eventually Xiye comes in with the Destiny anyway to finish this off. So amazing play from Xiye to come back into that play, turned around in favor of LGD, and crucially get some gold into their back pockets.
I mean, it was just a funny play because obviously we didn't get to see Xiye coming in from the side with his TP. We're focused on towards mid, and I thought Mark's kind of briefing this one with a massive question mark, but lo and behold, great setup for the response play, and LGD bring this game back from what was RNG starting to run away with it, look for picks, build momentum themselves. Now, even in the bottom side here, Dagda, Kramer setting up for the turret wall. Mark, Shadow, Linger. You can see Xiye with the Destiny available once again. And LGD, they've got some real core items built up. 4 of those mythics in an instant.
Cryin.
And Cryin now caught out. Solar flared. Once again, Destiny down. Shockwave, though. Zenith's blade doesn't connect, but it doesn't matter. Xiaohu running into the thick of it while his damage is massive because he's level 11. Gold card to lock him down, but he has Merc Tread. Flashes on in, and he'll get a reset as well. Doesn't get the gold card, though. Unlucky, sir. He just wanted the quickest one. While into the Ragnarok, Wei runs to his death, and RNG run to 3 of their own members falling flat.
But again, this is what we're talking about from RNG. Oh, hang on, Kramer. Ripperoni, I suppose, in the bot side, but Ming is just out of tower range. He'll be all right. But this is what we said for RNG, right? Taking that bot lane out of the equation. They end up going and overcommitting for these fights that they've already lost. Cryin's dead. Like, we saw it from a mile away. It was a good play from LGD to sneak in behind. You just call it quits there. But Xiaohu commits to the fight. Yes, he gets one back, but Wei also overextends for that fight. And instead of just cutting their losses and backing off, they end up giving more over towards LGD. So you can see here, right? I actually don't mind Xiaohu committing here. Nearly able to pick off Xiye straight off the bat, but this overcommitment where he takes the reset off of Xiye instead of just backing away at this stage gives the opportunity for Fearness to come in. Wei then overcommits as well, and you end up giving 2 kills across instead of just being able to move away from that. But we're going to see what happened here on this bot side as well.
Yes, we are. Fate's call and just a flash away, but Ming's in range, and oh, that dredge line. That's amazing. That's great. Again, while we compliment Ming as well. I've been talking about Xiaohu being the best performing member. I still think Ming is up there with him, if not very close behind. Dredgeline doesn't connect as I'm talking about him, but he set himself up. The Kalista 3-1 now for Gala. So while it's been very back and forth, Dagda, around this dragon, we have to remember we're looking at mythic for mythic territory. Items pretty much even, and we begin.
See, though, Fearness has access to the backline here, where Xiaohu doesn't really. Destiny to try and pick off Gala.
It's Gala by himself. Sonic Wave connects, takes the blast cone straight up into the air. The kick matters not, but the soul flare for the re-engage. Chains of Corruption are connecting and spreading. Gold card at the ready. It's Ming locked down on the backline. Fearness is destroying 1v2. The Heartbreaker from Xiaohu. He's doing a lot of damage. Wei has to help. A quick reset here as he's going to turn into the Camille. Get the precision protocol. But again, RNG losing members fast until Xiaohu continues to live. Gets yet another reset. Mark has to run, and you just think Viego's lost the fight until he hasn't.
How does Viego manage it every time? I thought that was a great fight for LGD, but Xiaohu is able to come out clutch alongside Wei. They get the fight, and they get this dragon for themselves as well.
Well, I'm ready for a replay because, you know the hardest thing about casting in 2021 is keeping track of this stupid bloody champion. Dagda, it's like trying to look down an intersection and then look left, look right. You got 2 roads to the side of you, and you know there's cars coming behind you. You can't do it at once. We'll have a look again because for RNG, this looked doomed.
There's just too many different things. Now, I actually thought here, Fearness had a great flank in towards the backline, picks off Cryin. I was like, this is wonderful. And then 4v1, Xiaohu is pretty much taking on LGD. You see a quick stun coming through from Xiye means he's not able to get that CC chain on towards Xiaohu. And then it's just reset after reset. The healing coming through on the passive from Xiaohu, keeping him up, keeping him happy. And he's now sitting 3-1-3 with the Divine Sunder completed. Blade of the Rune King soon to follow. And suddenly Fearness is in a hell of a lot of trouble in this top lane.
Props to Wei in that last fight for flashing over, because if he didn't have flash, I mean, we remember Olaf would ghost most of the time, but if he didn't burn the flash, Xiaohu doesn't get the reset there. The damage wasn't going to be enough. He added so much to RNG's success there. And even after we saw RNG win the fight, I just want to point out, Gold's dead even once again. 20 kills, 18 minutes here in this game number 1 of LGD RNG. It'll change for a second because Xiaohu gets the turret in the top side, but LGD pick up their first turret of the game, and it's even once more. So second Herald might change that, Dagda, as RNG have started that for now.
Yeah, and that's the big difference maker here, is you're going to get this Herald, and for RNG, that equals tempo advantage, because you can shove in, create this big advantage mid, start to group around it as Cryin. Please don't go down as I'm trying to explain my points, but
well, I think it might be
Xiye.
Yeah, in a bit of trouble. I mean, Destiny's been used. It timed out in the nick of it. Xiye burnt the flash as well. So That was a moment there from the mid laner of LGD. It means Destiny's going to be down once again, but we're getting to the point in the game where it's only that 30, 40-second cooldown. I think 30 is a bit ambitious. Call it 40 seconds, which means it's not going to be too much of an issue. Dagda, let's point out items while we have a quick lull, because I think it's important to note that we are progressing in this game very fast because of the kill count. We have a rapid-fire cannon onto Xiye here, so great for the pick potential. When he has that Zhonya's, it'll just be the icing on the cake as well. But 2 items on Xiaohu's Viego. Blade of the Ruin King now picked up, going to be great in the sustain battle, while Fearness a little bit behind because he's been behind in CS for the majority of the game.
Yeah, and this is what I wanted to touch on, was like, how do we play at this game now for both sides? Because you can see the items coming through, right? As you talk about, LGD, very heavy on that pick potential, trying to look to see if they can use the TPs, the Destinies, to play through Fearness and look for picks as RNG are trying to deal with the side lane pressure. If you're RNG, however, you want to try and get this tempo in your favor. You want to start putting pressure on towards these mid lane turrets, using this Rift Herald to cause that, and then threaten Baron. You cannot siege down these turrets as RNG unless you have that Baron already completed, especially at Gala, just too short range of an AD carry. So you're trying to group and force LGD into a fight at Baron, but you need to get control of the jungle, get control of the map before you can do that. And that's why when you look at RNG, they're pushing in these lanes, they're not overextending, and they're trying to creep this vision into LGD's topside jungle.
I just love that you talk about, LGD really don't want to fight. It comes back to the condition, right? Bottom right, I wonder if our audience can see this. There's a heat map of what's happened in this game, yeah. All towards that top side. However, it feels like, we had more plays on the bottom. I'm not sure about that, Dagda. We've had a lot of
Yeah, I'm not
plays.
sure what it was for.
Yeah.
Seems a bit funky, I will say. I don't remember that many kills in the top lane.
It says Xiaohu, so Xiaohu is top lane. So I'm assuming that's where top laners have been.
Gotcha.
I'm pretty confident on that. I'm just going to go ahead and say that's where top laners have been this game, because we know that Xiaohu and Fearness are now moving towards that bottom side. You can see them matching each other. In fact, Fearness backing, leaving the turret exposed. Well, Xiye is going to get top side as well. I want to come back to my point before we saw the heat maps. Dagda, with these elongated lanes, for LGD, this is actually a great thing, right? With the Camille moving towards 2 items, with Xiye's ability to influence the side lanes, getting these longer lanes to split push through means that LGD can play around with the map state a little bit more and punish RNG for overextending. Maybe like this, maybe not. Destiny comes in the nick of time. The ultimate from Fearness, not enough. Xiaohu gets a reset, but not before he gets hit with the Sonic Wave. Weird interaction. Heartbreaker comes through. He's out of there, but Everfrost turns on top of Wei. Shockwave doesn't connect. They get out of it, but Wei jumps back in with the Gore Trigger. He's at half health once again. Undertow while Cryin flashes away from the Chains of Corruption. That connects, which was a gold card. These fights weirder than ever. Everything's thrown out. Dredge line from Ming from the back line. Kramer and Xiye are dead. And Xiaohu's back to half health. RNG with the ace. And such a strange fight to get there.
I like the idea from LGD. It's their target selection that I don't agree with. Trying to kill Xiaohu is not the play there. He's too tanky with the Divine Sunder. He's got too many resets. His burst damage is insanely high after finishing the Blade of the Ruin King as well. They wanted to try and commit on towards Gala instead, who was separated from the team over towards that mid lane. But unfortunately for LGD, that misstep gave so much gold over towards RNG, gave that dragon towards RNG as well. And now for LGD, who want to try and make these picks and avoid these fights, have a soul up in 4.5 minutes where they are forced to brawl with RNG. You're going to see it here, right? Fearness goes in and tries to set it up. They see Wei in the bush, but there's just not enough burst damage here. They nearly kill Xiaohu. I think it's kind of bold that Xiaohu gets out of this, to be perfectly honest. He should have gone down there.
He W'd to the wall.
But look, it doesn't even matter, right? At the end of the day, Xiaohu, even if he goes down there, you still lose the ensuing fight. I would have preferred to see LGD try and pick off Gala, who's in that mid lane. Easier to deal with. Yes, he's got the cleanse, but you've got a hell of a lot more follow-up from Mark, who can come through. It's easier to get that damage off as well. The Everfrost, there's so much CC that can come through from LGD's side, but unfortunately for them, they picked the wrong fight, and now
my God, we're in the same place. Xiaohu, he's dead to the Everfrost. It is a TP that comes in from Xiye to get the kill, but look, RNG have a very fast Baron. Destiny get towards range, and that'll stop them before Gala can start hitting away and get the Ren Smite combo.
And that's how you want to play as LGD. They get Xiaohu, but this time he's on his own. So it means you can actually burst them out. Now you've got Fearness who's threatening bot side. He still has TP to get towards Baron, and he's scot-free for 20 seconds because that's before Xiaohu can get up. So bot tier 2 now potentially gone as RNG once again try and bait this Baron.
This is where we come back to what you said, Dagda, about LGD's comp, what the Camille can do in a side lane. In that time that Xiaohu's dead, he has TP if he wants to go and match and then respond to the Baron play. But if RNG aren't doing that Baron, if they're not forcing LGD into them, then LGD can get some resources. They can use these side lanes effectively, as we see both are pushed out for the time being, and that means they can clear vision quite comfortably. So smart play here from LGD, just to respond, react to what RNG were doing. As RNG have backed off, gone back to start completing some of their third items. Xiaohu, the only person in the game right now, I'm just scanning across, apart from Xiye, who, rapid fire cannon, we know, a little bit cheaper, but 3 items there for both Xiaohu and Xiye.
Yeah, I think the hysterics gauge is going to make it a little bit more difficult to pick Xiaohu, but I still actually want to see LGD double down on this, right? You've got just double enforce that bottom side of the map. Use Fearness's ult to combo with Xiye. You've got Fearness who's got his own TP to still get to these fights, and make sure that RNG are uncomfortable. Because as long as you're picking off Xiye, getting all this gold, creating these long lanes, it becomes really, really difficult for RNG to find these fights consistently. So we have the opportunity maybe now. As you can see, actually Xiye is going to follow that advice, moving down to shadow Fearness on that bot side of the map the second Viego shows up.
But remember that if Xiye is spotted out by any vision by RNG, it means a turn, it means a move. Now, frankly, I'm wrong because Ming and Gala are back at base, but in any other circumstance, Xiye has to watch his timing. I want to point out, Dagda, I've been really off kilter this game. I feel like needing oxygen has made me very scared in life, as maybe LGD should be. Depth charge on the back end, RNG now to play angles, but LGD are bundling into the choke while Xiaohu makes his presence known. He TP'd in first, and he's got a reset. Watch the arrows fly as Mark's into the middle. Fearness joins the party late, and RNG have already won it. Dagda, they asked for a team fight, and LGD gave it to them.
And LGD just picked the wrong person. Cryin dead doesn't mean a huge amount. Gala is still huge. Xiaohu is still huge. And as you said, giving that team fight, Xiaohu, no heartbreaker to get over the wall, but he could smell the blood of Shadow over that wall. But either way, RNG, they get that team fight, and now they get the Baron. As I said, hysterics, LGD just gave it to them on a silver platter.
I love the TP ward. I love the TP from Xiaohu as well. Another great game this time around. As watch this against Fearness, the Camille. You think she's going to be strong at this point with 2 items? Well, Viego has 3. And when he goes back after that fight, he'll be on 3.5. Baron picked up, and your time to shine because Deep Ward and Ming just knowing that he can catch out Cryin.
You can see LGD, they commit a lot on towards Wei, who's able to use his ultimate to avoid a lot of that CC. They then try to go into Cryin, who again buys more time with that stopwatch, and it means that LGD are all just sitting there when Gala shows up, when Xiaohu shows up, and they're all spread out. It means you're able to go from person to person as Xiaohu, making your way through Kramer, through Xiye, and there's just nothing left there for LGD. And now, here's that dragon we talked about. The fights are already going RNG's way.
They are. Look, I mean, look at the gold lead on the top of your screen. It's so significant, and RNG love team fighting. Gala is not irrelevant at this point in the game, and Xiaohu is an absolute demon king. As they group up as a 5-man unit, LGD trying to play the angles of the Camille, of the Lee Sin. But we know that Viego, if he gets the resets, a much better team fighter than Camille. And Xiye needs his own angles too. LGD sitting in the river, Ming gets the dredge line on the wall. This will be Ocean Soul for RNG, and the game will be absolutely kaput. It's been started, it's been taken. Mark goes into the backline, Solar Blade doesn't hit Gala, he runs for it, and now Ocean Soul with a Viego, a Kalista, a Fate's Call into the backline. Everyone getting knocked up, but Orianna doing her work as well. One more engage for Mark or Shadow before he hits the dirt. Xiye on the backline, destroyed by the Shadow Isles, and everything burns in RNG's honor.
And RNG now can close out this game. They get the dragon stacking to pay off with that soul. And now they can march their way through victory through this mid lane.
I'm proud of RNG. We saw the early game Dagda. We saw the team fighting, knowing the win condition and not sacrificing too much on the side of the map. RNG a little bit revitalized here in this game 1. It's a good start to the series as they run towards the Nexus, and in under 30 minutes, Royal never give up. Take down the young hopefuls in Lao Gandia.
Nice job from RNG to pick up that game number 1. Able to get these early dragons going in their favor. We talked about that being the win condition, forcing LGD to fight these uncomfortable fights. And you can see when we got towards that last one, it wasn't even close. No. LGD just got wiped, and this is the power of the composition that RNG had selected. And unfortunately for LGD, it looked like they were starting to get the ball rolling in their favor. We saw some clever plays from Fearness and Xiye, but they just were never far enough ahead and never had enough control of the map to actually get this 1-2 punch from the Camille and the Twisted Fate to work.
I think the Twisted Fate Camille, we've seen so many times before where for LGD it would fail, right? It was one of their best compositions, but we could still see how it failed. RNG forcing with numbers advantage. TPs from Xiaohu, absolutely gorgeous. And that big burst in gold when RNG committed, Gala's able to hit away as well. And I know people are saying, oh, the damage numbers from Gala's not big. But just remember, this Kalista was always relevant, always had about half an item over Kramer, and was crucial in those objectives. The Baron threatened, the Dragon as well. He got the rend off, so I think it was a good game all round, and minimal kind of mistakes coming through from RNG, bar 1 or 2 fights.
Yeah, I think the early skirmish is still definitely going a little bit awry from them. We highlighted, you know, there were 2 or 3 fights that we saw where they really shouldn't have been taking them. Either they just had level disadvantages or numbers disadvantages, and kind of just disrespecting like the teleports that Xiye had available and these kind of things. So certainly I still think that that early game from RNG still showing cracks, but as we got to the mid to late game, you can see RNG are just far more comfortable, right? They understand where their warding needs to be, how Xiaohu can have an impact, being able to play through that side lane. That's the RNG strengths, and we still see that coming through, and still a hallmark of RNG from spring.
Yeah, that's right, and that's what we want to continue to see, right? A team that is 1-5 right now. Boy, oh boy. I hate saying it because I feel like RNG are not a 1-5 team, but you know, we've seen worse. That was a good start to the series. I'll say it again. It needs to continue here against LGD. We never know. LGD might have something else to say. Ladies and gentlemen, break. When we return, game 2.